Welcome to this model. In this model, I'm gonna speak about transponders. A transponder is a series of interconnected units which forms a single communication channel between the receive and transmit antennas in a communication satellite. Some of the units utilized by a transponder in a given channel may be common to number of transponders. Thus, although reference may be made to specific transponder, this must be thought of as an equipment channel rather than a single item of equipment. Before describing in detail the various units of a transponder, the overall frequency arrangement of a typical C-band communication satellite has to be examined carefully. The bandwidth allocated for C-band service is 500 MHz, and this is divided into subbands, one for each transponder. A typical transponder bandwidth is 36 megahertz and allowing for a 4 megahertz guard band between the transponder. So 12 such transponders can be accommodated in the 500 megahertz bandwidth. By making use of polarization isolation, this number can be doubled. Polarization isolation refers to the fact that the carriers which may be on the same frequency but with the opposite senses of polarization can be isolated from one another by receiving antennas matched to the incoming polarization. With linear polarization, vertically and horizontally polarized carriers can be separated in this way, and with circular polarization, left-hand circular and right-hand circular polarization can be separated. Because the carriers with opposite senses of polarization may overlap in frequency, and this technique is referred to as a frequency reuse. Here you can see the part of the frequency and polarization plan for a C-band communication satellite, that is you can see in this figure. So frequency reuse may be achieved with the spot beam antennas, and these may be combined with the polarization reuse to provide an effective bandwidth of 2000 MHz from the actual bandwidth of 500 MHz. For one of the polarization groups, and this diagram shows the channeling scheme for 12 transponders in more detail. The incoming or uplink frequency range is 5.925 to 6.425 GHz. The carriers may be received by one or more antennas, all having the same polarization. The input filter passes the full 500 MHz band to the common receiver, while rejecting out of band noise and interference such as might be caused by image signals. There will be many modulated carriers within this 500 MHz pass band, and all these are amplified and frequency converted in the common receiver. The frequency conversion shifts the carriers to the downlink frequency band, which is also 500 MHz wide, extending from 3.7 to 4.2 GHz. At this point, the signals are channelized into frequency bands which represent an individual transponder bandwidth. A transponder may handle one of the modulated carriers such as TV signal, or it may handle a number of separate carriers simultaneously, each modulated by its own telephony and other baseband channels. So with linear polarization, vertically and horizontally polarized carriers can be separated in this way, and with circular polarization, left-hand circular and right-hand circular polarization can be separated. Because the carriers with opposite senses of polarizations may overlap in frequency, and this technique is being referred to as the frequency reuse. Right? And there will be many modulated carriers within this 500 MHz passband, and all of these are amplified and frequency converted in common receiver. The frequency conversions of the downlink frequency band, which is also 100 MHz wide, extending from 3.7 to 4.2 GHz, and at this point the signals are channelized and into frequency bands which represent the individual transponder bandwidth. A transponder may handle one modulated carrier such as a TV signal, or it may handle a number of separate carriers simultaneously, each modulated by its telephony or other passband signal. Next, what we are going to see is about the wideband receiver. So you can see a wideband receiver here. A duplicate receiver is provided so that if one fails, the other is automatically switched in. The combination is referred to as redundant receiver, meaning that although two are provided, only one is in use at a given time. The first stage in the receiver is the low noise amplifier. This amplifier adds little noise to the carrier being amplified, and at the same time it provides sufficient amplification for the carriers to override the higher noise level present in the following mixer stage. In calculations involving noise, it is usually more convenient to refer all noise levels to the LNA input, where the total receiver noise may be expressed in terms of equivalent noise temperature. In a well-designed receiver, the equivalent noise temperature referred to the LNA input is basically that of the LNA alone. The overall noise temperature must take into account the noise added from the antenna, and these calculations are have to be calculated very carefully so that the equivalent noise temperature of a satellite receiver may be of the order of few hundred kelvins. The LNA feeds into a mixer stage, which also requires a local oscillator signal for the frequency conversion process. The power drive from the local oscillator to the mixer input is about 10 dBm. The oscillator frequency must be highly stable and have low phase noise. A second amplifier follows the mixer stage to provide an overall receiver gain of about 60 dB. The signal levels in decibels refer to the input shown in this figure. And this splitting the gain between the pre-amplifier at 6 GHz and the second amplifier at 4 GHz prevents the oscillations which might occur if all gain were to be provided at the same frequency. The wideband receiver utilizes only solid-state active devices. In some designs, tunnel diode amplifiers have been used for the pre-amplifier at 6 GHz in 6 to 4 GHz transponders, and for the parametric amplifiers at 14 GHz in 12 to 14 GHz transponders. So with advances in field effect transistor technology, FET amplifiers which offer equal or better performance are now available for both bands. Diode mixer stages are used, and the amplifier following the mixer may utilize bipolar junction transistors at 4 GHz and FETs at 12 GHz, and FETs may be in fact used in both bands. And next, let us look into the input demultiplexer. The input demultiplexer separates the broadband input covering the frequency range from 3.7 to 4.2 GHz into the transponder frequency channels. Okay, and seeing this figure, for example, the separate channels labeled to 1 to 12 are shown in this figure, you can see, and the channels are usually arranged in even numbered and odd numbered groups. This provides the greater frequency separation between the adjacent channels in a group, which reduces the adjacent channel interference. The output from the receiver is fed to the power splitter, which in turn feeds into the two separate chain of circulators. The full broadband signal is transmitted along each chain, and the channelizing is achieved by means of channel filters connected to each circulator. The channel numbers correspond to those are shown in this figure. Each filter has a bandwidth of 36 MHz and is tuned to the appropriate center frequency. Although there are considerable losses in the demultiplexer, these are easily made up in the overall gain of the transponder signals. So, as a separate power amplifier is required to provide the output power for each transponder signal. So, you have each power amplifier will be preceded by an input attenuator, and that input attenuator is necessary to permit the input drive to each power amplifier to be adjusted to the desired level. The attenuator has the fixed section and a variable section. The fixed section is attenuation is needed to balance out the variations in the input attenuation so that each transponder channel has the nominal attenuation and necessary adjustments being made during assembly. The variable attenuation is needed to set the level as required for different types of service. Because this variable attenuator adjustment is an operational requirement, it must be under the control of the ground TT and C stations. Thank you.